Welcome back. We go straight to what we have at hand. We have someone that we shall be having this interview with to help us understand, still about the election. We are still around the election, enjoying what happened over the weekend, getting to know more about solutions to different allegations and election I want to say malpractices, right? Of course, we can still work with that as well. So we have with us an observer and correspondent at the Oka election, Anambra governorship election that happened over the weekend on Saturday. We have with us Lawrence Nwimo. Hello, Lawrence. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening.
All right, it's nice to have you. So let's get to know the places the units that you visited during the elections. What's your observation?
All right. Well, it was the election was held on Saturday, and I visited just two local government areas, Newi and also Oka South local government area. So the election, the voting in the places that I visited, they did quite well in the sense that there was an improvement in terms of voter turnout. Also, the election officials arrived early in some polling units, whereas in some other polling units they arrived a bit late. So also in terms of security, in some 90% of the polling units and other there was this security personnel were on ground, but in some places like Nenewi, particularly in the Osumei area, we didn't see much security personnel on ground as at the time we were at the location. So generally the election was peaceful, there was no violence. No violence was recorded in Nenewi axis that I covered, and also in Oka South there was no form of violence. The election also recorded the participation of persons with disabilities, even though there are still complaints that assistive materials were not fully provided by INEC to assist persons with disabilities to cast their vote, or rather exercise their franchise, on Saturday.
All right, Lawrence, now the election has come and gone, and from what we are seeing from the other candidates, a whole lot of them is saying that they are rejecting the result of Soludo emerging as the winner. Some are saying that on the basis of voters inducement and rigging and all sorts. From where you covered, what really played out there? Were there any form of voters inducement?
Yes, voter inducement played a huge part in the election, but I would say that it was only the APGA candidates it was only APGA that we are inducing voters. Even the All Progressive Congress, some of the party agents, some of the APC agents, were also involved in vote buying. So if you ask me if there was a vote buying in the elections, there was vote buying even in the places that I covered, as in Newi and Oka South. It was done codedly. And we also read in the news that in some other places that some persons were caught sharing money, at polling units. I didn't get that in Newi, but somewhere where I covered, particularly the hometown of the APC candidate, there was a massive vote buying, although it was done codedly, So that there was actually vote buying in the election.
All right, so thank you for that information. Lawrence, what is your reaction to the way INEC is handling these very allegations? So far, of course, the result has been announced, but it seems we've not really heard anything from INEC regarding, the offenders, people that sold or bought these votes, and also the unit that we lost one of the councillors as well. so far, INEC hasn't really made any statement, or some people were even hoping that the elections in those units will be cancelled, for another time, to still make sure the election is free, fair, and credible. What is your reaction to that regarding INEC's pattern, the way INEC is handling this?
Well, I would say that INEC, I don't think there's a much INEC will do on that, because even if an election should be held again, if the election should be cancelled and reorganized, there will still be vote buying. It has come to stay. The only thing is that moving forward, there should more effort should be put in place to sensitize the general public out there that they should not they should shun vote trading, because one thing we can say is that one party is actually buying and the other party is actually selling. So the party agents the political parties or the candidates are buying, whereas the electorate are selling their votes. So it all boils down to sensitization. INEC should, even though the INEC is yet to come out openly to say or issue a statement regarding vote buying, but I think it is not something that will be that can be addressed immediately, but continuous effort, to sensitize the people and also the parties would go a long way to curbing this menace of vote buying.
Okay.
Then again, if you look at
go on.
Then again, if you look at in terms of voter turnout, in the election recorded an improvement in terms of voter turnout. I wouldn't know if it was because of the vote buying, because from INEC result, 21% of registered voters cast their vote during the election, so which is an improvement to the 10% that was recorded in the 2021 governorship election in the state.
All right, so Nwimo, I'm concerned, I'm curious to what you said. In your phrase, you said vote buying has come to stay. Even if the election is, rescheduled, it has come to stay. Are you saying it's not possible to have a free and fair election in Nigeria?
Well, it is possible to have a free and fair election, but if you look at the people are hungry. Well, I wouldn't say why I made that statement is because of the society we are in. Even if another election should be organized tomorrow, people will still be open to trading their votes. So that is why I said that the long solution to this is continued sensitization. INEC should bank on voter education, sensitization, telling people that this actually is a menace in the electoral process, and they need to shun the parties.
But Lawrence,
and also on the part of the political.
If you're saying it's INEC needs to do more sensitization on citizens to avoid vote buying and the likes, what happened to the security personnel that are mounted at these different polling units, to make sure things like this don't happen, number one? And what happens to INEC, holding these people accountable, making sure that they are sent to the right authorities, to be questioned and tried? Why are you not mentioning these people? And it's just about the citizens and sensitization.
Okay, let me even give you the information that even at Osume, where I covered some of the security, some of the agencies, tasked with the responsibility of, arresting those involved in vote buying. I saw some persons. We noticed that some of those people trading the vote were actually caught, and they were not. There was no one day led to the other, and they were released. So even the security agencies, those that are supposed to apprehend the perpetrators of vote buying or vote trading, actually involved somehow. You see, so it is not something that it is something that we will continue to happen for people to change, because it is fast becoming an attitude of Nigerians. Nigerians are now beginning to see it that vote trading is a normal. But because I said not only the INEC is supposed to take part in this installation, also the political parties, the relevant authorities, the CSOs, the media, because this is becoming a menace in the electoral process.
All right, Lawrence, now finally before we go, in just a few minutes, do you think that the election in Anambra State, that particular day, met your expectation? And as a correspondent, what was it like for you? Briefly.
Let me get the last part of your question.
As a correspondent in the field representing Signature TV, what was it like for you?
All right. Well, I would say that it's an improvement. The election, the Saturday election was an improvement compared to what was recorded in the state in 2021. In terms of, like I said earlier, in terms of voter turnout, there was an improvement. 21% registered voters were able to cast their votes, and also in terms of electoral violence, there was no violence aside one lone incident that was recorded at Orumba South, where a councillor was shot. Although and we are yet to confirm if it was linked, if the shooting is linked to voting or electoral, or it was totally on the election day. So generally, there was no incidents of violence in the state. Then also in terms of well, generally there's an improvement. There's an improvement, and even the CSOs, some electoral observers have also attested that this election was better than the 2021 election. So there's an improvement in the part of the INEC performance. INEC being able to release, to complete the election within the record time, and also being able to distribute the electoral materials in time. Because in some polling units, they were able to start between 8:30 and 9:30. All the voting has started in most of the polling units in the state. So there's an improvement generally in terms of INEC performance in the election.
All right. Thank you very much, Lawrence Nwimo, for that analysis. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so that was our correspondent and Lawrence Nwimo that helped us to, really understand how it was like over there and also give us this observation during and of course after the election.